Hello and welcome to our channel. We're going to tell you a story. She was my best friend, the one person I trusted more than anyone. We laughed, we cried, we promised nothing would ever break us. But then, I met him. And one mistake changed everything. This is my story, of how I lost my best friend because I loved her boyfriend. My name is Emma, and I am 24 years old. If you had asked me 2 years ago who the most important person in my life was, I would have answered without hesitation, Sophia. She wasn't just my best friend, she was my sister in every way except blood. We met in high school, and from that day, our bond grew stronger than anything I had ever known. We shared secrets, dreams, laughter, and tears. If Sophia cried, I cried with her. If I laughed, she laughed louder. We promised each other that nothing, not money, not distance, not even love, would ever break our friendship. But promises are fragile, and sometimes life has a cruel way of testing them. The day I met him. It happened one summer evening. Sophia invited me to a small get-together at her apartment. I wasn't really in the mood to go because I had just finished a long, exhausting day at work, but she begged me. "Come on, Emma," she said over the phone. "It's just a few friends, some food, and music. You need this." So, I went. That night, my life changed. Sophia introduced me to a boy. His name was Daniel. The moment I saw him, something inside me stirred. He wasn't the kind of guy you forget easily. He had kind eyes, a smile that made you feel safe, and a way of speaking that pulled you in without trying. I didn't think much of it at first. He was just Sophia's boyfriend. I told myself to look away, to stop noticing the way he laughed or how he listened carefully when I spoke. But my heart didn't listen. The growing bond. Over the next few weeks, I saw more of Daniel. Every time I visited Sophia, he was there. We would sit in the living room together, all three of us, laughing at silly jokes, watching movies, or sharing stories from our childhoods. But slowly, something started to shift. I began noticing how Daniel's eyes lingered on me a little longer than they should. I noticed how he listened more closely when I spoke, how he asked me questions that went deeper than casual small talk. And worst of all, I noticed how much I wanted his attention. At night, I would lie awake thinking of him. My heart raced with guilt because I knew it was wrong. Sophia was my best friend. She trusted me. She loved him. How could I even imagine betraying her? But feelings don't always ask for permission. The first mistake. One evening, Sophia had to stay late at work, and she asked me to stop by her apartment to keep Daniel company until she came home. I should have said no. I should have made an excuse. But instead, I went. We sat on the couch, sipping tea, talking about life, about dreams, about things I had never shared with anyone before. He made me laugh. He made me feel seen. And then, it happened. Daniel reached for my hand. For a second, I froze. My heart screamed at me to pull away, to stop before it was too late. But I didn't. I let him hold my hand. That one small action was the beginning of everything. The secret. From that night on, things were never the same. Daniel and I began texting when Sophia wasn't around. At first, it was innocent, just small jokes, little conversations. But slowly, our messages became longer, deeper, more intimate. I told myself I wasn't doing anything wrong. After all, we hadn't kissed, we hadn't crossed that line. But in my heart, I knew. I knew I was stealing something that didn't belong to me. Every time Sophia smiled at me, every time she hugged me and called me her sister, the guilt inside me grew heavier. But so did my feelings for Daniel. The first kiss. It happened on a rainy evening. Sophia had gone away for the weekend to visit her parents, and she asked me to check in on Daniel because he wasn't feeling well. I went to his apartment, brought him soup, and we sat together watching the rain pour outside. The air felt heavy, charged with something I couldn't describe. He looked at me with those eyes, the kind that made you forget everything else. "Emma," he whispered, "I can't stop thinking about you." And before I could stop him, his lips touched mine. It was soft, hesitant, almost trembling. But in that moment, I felt the world fall away. I knew it was wrong, I knew it was betrayal, but I couldn't pull back. I kissed him back. When the kiss ended, I was shaking. "This can't happen," I whispered, my voice breaking. But deep inside, I knew it already had. The guilt. From that day forward, everything became complicated. Every time I was around Sophia, I felt like a liar. She would sit beside me, talking about how much she loved Daniel, how she dreamed of marrying him one day, and my heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. I wanted to scream, to confess everything, to beg for her forgiveness. But I was a coward. I stayed silent. Daniel and I continued to see each other in secret. Each time we met, I promised myself it would be the last. But each time, I went back. It was like an addiction, I couldn't let him go. And yet, the more I loved him, the more I hated myself. The breaking point. One evening, Sophia called me. Her voice was filled with excitement. "Emma, guess what?" she said. "Daniel and I are planning something big. I think he's going to propose soon." Her words hit me like a knife. A proposal. Marriage. My heart felt like it was being crushed. That night, I couldn't sleep. Tears soaked my pillow as I asked myself over and over, what am I doing? I had two choices, either walk away and save my friendship, or continue down a path that could destroy everything. But my heart had already chosen, even if my mind screamed against it. And that was the beginning of the end, the point where love, betrayal, and heartbreak collided. I wish I could say I walked away before it was too late. I wish I could say I chose friendship over temptation. But the truth is, I didn't. A hidden relationship. After Sophia's call about Daniel possibly proposing, I tried to distance myself from him. I ignored his texts for a few days, avoided his calls, and told myself that I needed to cut ties before the situation spun out of control. But Daniel didn't give up. He came to see me one evening, standing outside my apartment in the rain, his clothes soaked, his eyes filled with desperation. "Emma," he pleaded, "I can't do this without you. I love Sophia, yes, but it's different. With you, it's something I've never felt before. Please don't walk away from me." And just like that, all my walls collapsed. I let him in, not just into my apartment, but into my life, into my soul. From that day, we began a secret relationship. Whenever Sophia wasn't around, we stole moments together. A smile across the room, a brush of hands, whispered confessions of love. It was intoxicating, thrilling, and heartbreaking all at once. But every time I saw Sophia's face, guilt ate away at me like poison. Sophia's happiness. One afternoon, Sophia invited me to a cafe. She looked radiant, her eyes sparkling with joy. She leaned across the table and whispered, "Emma, I think Daniel is the one. I've never felt so loved before." Her words stabbed me like knives. I forced a smile, nodding, pretending to be happy for her, while inside I was breaking. That night, I cried myself to sleep. I cried not only for Sophia but for the person I was becoming, someone I never thought I could be. A betrayer. A thief of love. The discovery. The truth, as it always does, found its way to the light. It happened one ordinary evening. I was at Daniel's apartment, curled up on the couch with him, when suddenly the front door opened. It was Sophia. She stood frozen in the doorway, her eyes wide with shock as she saw us together. The world seemed to stop in that moment. My heart dropped, my body went numb, and Daniel's arm slipped away from me as if he had been burned. "Emma," Sophia whispered, her voice trembling. How could you? I tried to speak, but no words came. Tears blurred my vision. Sophia, please, it's not what you think. But it was exactly what she thought. Her face crumpled with pain, betrayal flooding her eyes. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just shook her head slowly and whispered, "You were my sister. I trusted you more than anyone. And you," her voice broke, "you took everything from me." Then she turned and walked away. Broken. That night was the worst of my life. I called her phone over and over, but she didn't answer. I went to her apartment, but she wouldn't open the door. I left letters, messages, anything I could think of to explain, to beg, to apologize, but nothing reached her. I had lost her. Daniel tried to comfort me, but his presence only made it worse. Because no matter how much I loved him, I knew deep down that he wasn't worth the price I had paid. The consequences. Days turned into weeks. Sophia cut me out of her life completely. She blocked my number, avoided places we used to go, and even told mutual friends she didn't want anything to do with me. My world, once full of laughter and friendship, turned cold and empty. I had Daniel by my side, but my heart ached with guilt every time I looked at him. Because even in his arms, I could feel the shadow of Sophia between us. One evening, Daniel and I sat in silence. Finally, I whispered, "Was it worth it? Losing her?" He didn't answer. And in that silence, I understood. Love that hurts. Months passed. Daniel and I stayed together, but our relationship was poisoned by guilt and regret. We fought often, both of us haunted by the ghost of Sophia's pain. I began to realize that sometimes, love isn't enough. Sometimes, the cost of love is too high. I loved Daniel, yes. But I had destroyed my best friend, the one person who had stood by me through everything. And no matter how much I tried to justify it, no matter how many times I told myself that love was uncontrollable, I couldn't escape the truth. I had betrayed her. The letter. One day, nearly a year later, I wrote a letter to Sophia. I didn't know if she would ever read it, but I poured out everything, my regret, my guilt, my love for her as a friend, and my shame for breaking her heart. I wrote, "Sophia, I don't expect you to forgive me. I just want you to know that I am sorry. Truly, deeply sorry. If I could go back and change things, I would choose you every time. Because no love is worth losing a sister." I never got a reply. The truth about love and friendship. Today, as I sit here writing this, I don't know where Sophia is. I hear from mutual friends that she's doing well, that she's moved on, maybe even found someone new. As for me, Daniel and I eventually broke up. The weight of what we had done was too heavy, and slowly, it crushed us. Now, I am left with memories and lessons. I learned that love can be powerful, yes, but it can also be destructive. I learned that betrayal leaves scars deeper than words can heal. And I learned that once trust is broken, it may never return. If I could give advice to anyone listening to my story, it would be this: cherish your friendships. Protect them, even from yourself. Because love may come and go, but a true friend, once lost, is gone forever. Final words. I still dream about Sophia sometimes. In my dreams, we are laughing together, sharing secrets like we used to, with no shadows between us. But then I wake up, and the emptiness reminds me of what I've lost. She was my best friend, until I took her boyfriend. And that is the mistake I will carry for the rest of my life. Enjoyed this story? Have you ever experienced? Share your stories with us in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories and adventures. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.